Hello and welcome to the Pastor Study. I'm Ray Bertolet. You know, we've been talking about going after wisdom, but sometimes we get confused as to what wisdom really looks like. Well, Solomon gives us a couple practicals when it comes to what wisdom looks like. One of the things he says is, don't withhold goods from those who it is due. In other words, if you have a bill to pay and you have in your hand the money to pay it, then you pay that bill. He says, don't say to your neighbor, if you owe something to your neighbor, don't say, well, why don't you come back tomorrow and maybe I'll get it to you then. He says, if you have it, then you pay it. Don't make that person run back and forth. Don't fool around with them. Don't make them chase after you. You pay your bill. You be responsible. He says, don't devise harm against your neighbor. Don't think of a way that you can get even. Don't get out there and figure out a way that you can, get all of your leaves off of your lawn and just get them in a way that they'll blow onto your neighbor's lawn. Or don't figure out a way that you would make it hard for your neighbor to get out of their driveway. Or don't make it difficult for the neighbor and for their pets or their kids. He says, no. Be considerate of your neighbor. Don't devise harm. He says, you know what? Because part of that says, if you're good to your neighbor, if you don't harm your neighbor, then you'll have some peace. You'll have some security. They will care about you just as you care about them. He says, don't contend with a man without a cause, if he has done you no harm. In other words, don't get into an argument with an individual that hasn't done anything to you. Don't get into that argument. Don't get into that fight. Don't get into that trouble with somebody that's not done you any harm. Walk away from the situation. Walk away. Those are just some of the practical ways that wisdom, this discussion on wisdom, comes into our everyday lives. How we treat our neighbors, how we treat our friends, how we treat the people that we work with. All of those come out of the outgrowth of wisdom in our life. So go after wisdom, but make it a part of your everyday life and how you live in your community. Till next time in the Pastor Study, I'm saying goodbye and may God bless.